Hello and welcome to Tell Me How You Did It. I'm Namrata Zakaria and I'm here to bring to you my handpicked list of some of India's finest brands. Yes, our best homegrown companies that can compete with the world's best and still win the battle hands down. These companies range from food, fashion, and film to home, art, and design. I'm only too happy to talk to the founders who not only chased their rainbows, they also made India proud. Make sure you tune in at htsmartcast.com week after week to shake the hands that built our best businesses. Listen to them tell me how they did it. I'm an avid wine lover, so believe me when I tell you that the finest Indian wines are made near Hampi in Karnataka. Okay, don't believe me, but believe the small fleet of awards this vineyard has been picking up. In fact, only last year, this winemaker was the first Indian one ever to be awarded a spot in the world's top 50 vineyards list. I'm talking about Krishna, a boutique winemaker, which is singularly changing the face of Indian wines globally. Krishna is a portmanteau of the husband and wife duo, its founders, Krishna Prasad and Uma Chigurupati. Both of them are here with me today. Hello, and welcome to the show.
Hello, Namrata. Nice being on your show today.
Uma, you first. You are truly a partnership every step of the way. You all started your pharmaceuticals firm together. You've run marathons across every continent in the world. In fact, both of you even have a Guinness World Record for that. And you all started this winery together. I mean, what an amazing ride. What an amazing marriage. And of course, this was an arranged marriage, right? So tell us about your personal journey.
Yeah, my personal journey, initially, I never thought that I'll come into business or something. I was always into academics and I wanted to pursue PhD in soil microbiology. Wedding happened and I think that maneuverability helped. The moment I thought, since he's, starting a pharmaceutical business, I thought, my involvement will definitely help to take it forward is what I thought. And then no regrets. So, so I'm into that business. And later on, when the kids were born, we have a son and twin daughters. After, a few years in the business, at that juncture, my involvement with kids was, definitely very much required. At that time, I took sabbatical. And afterwards, when the kids were grown up a little bit, again, I got into the business and then Christmas happened. So it is like I was never stubborn of what I have to do. But whenever I had taken up something, I had given my 100%.
And you even, who started running the marathons? Who started running?
Actually, both of us together.
Tell us about how you ran, where you ran, 7 continents, all the different countries.
So this will become a little long story. We were never athletes. It is all happened, of course, we are always fit and leading very active lifestyle. In 2003, the first 10K run was started in Hyderabad. At that juncture, we thought, okay, if at that time, marathon culture or running culture was not there much in India. It's in 2003. Actually, Mumbai Marathon also started, 2004 December, January. So we thought, okay, let us run. It will set a good example for our employees. If the chairman and the managing director and the director, if they do that, it will be inculcating good, healthy habits in their life. We thought of that. And yes, we practiced and we did our first 10K run. At that time, I was so elated. I thought, okay, I'm on top of the world. But that adrenaline rush, it's like so good. And we started enjoying running. It became half marathons and the half marathons became full marathon. And I have to give you a little story, how the half marathons around the world, what we are doing. graduated into full marathons, because in France there is a wine marathon which was happening, and that's a full marathon. So till then we were doing only half marathons, and we thought, okay, we have to do this. So we practiced and we did our first full marathon is in Medak Marathon. It's running through the wineries and have a sip of wine whenever or wherever you want. It's a fun marathon, but you have to complete in stipulated time. So that slowly we started enjoying the full marathons and doing all around the world. And later on, once we had seen someone celebrating a 7-continent run, that man was running from past, I think, 10 years or whatever it is. So then that idea of running in all 7 continents had come up, and instead of doing at more intervals or something like that, so we have done one marathon in 1 month. So, and we chose all extreme marathons because we love being in nature, being in those kind of in the middle of nowhere. So we chose running extreme marathons. In 2010 it had happened, and in 7 months we have completed doing 7 marathons, and in that 4 of them are extreme marathons, and ended up with Antarctica, and where we never even went into snow before going.
And there are no vineyards there to lure you either.
So that is how it happened. And of course, later on in 2015, this thing we have done in 7 days, 7 continents. That's a different thing.
Hats off to both of you. Krishna, if I may ask you, why Hampi? What are the challenges of growing wine here?
I actually was always thinking, just to take a little bit of the background, wine has been a passion for me right from my childhood. And I used to make wine when I was in college. And when I started my business, also initially I was making some wine and distributing it to friends. And I got busy with wine and then with my business. And then later on, wine took a backseat. But again, my business started taking me on travels across different countries. And then I started visiting various vineyards, tasting good wine for dinners. And then I realized, my God, wow, what lousy wine I was making in the past. So I said, now I have to make some good wine now, which will match international standards. And whatever I do, or I did in my business, or anything I do, I try to excel, do something different than what others do. So in my business, when we started making some bulk drugs initially, the first target was the US, not India. I straight went into the US where no Indian company was selling in the US. After selling in the US, I proved that the quality is acceptable. We demonstrated our capability, ability. Then I came to India. So that is how I used to work. So even on wine, I thought maybe I should start making a name for the wine in the US and other countries first. And then it gets acceptance and recognition everywhere.
But so, Hampi, where your vineyard stands today, was completely arid, and you've turned it, you've grown a sustainable forest around it. You've built this beautiful vineyard. You've started water harvesting, irrigation. I know you even have cows walking through the vineyards just to keep the soil active. So tell us about what it took you from going to a complete hostile sort of an environment to this lush space.
Okay, the first thing was I never thought I will set up a vineyard in India. I was thinking of setting up a vineyard somewhere in Tuscany. So one day on a trip to Hampi area, I saw a farmer trying to grow some wine grapes. And he had some crazy idea. He just planted some cab and Syrah. So I saw that, and somehow something told me. And Tuscany and the soils of Hampi are somewhat similar. So instead of going to Tuscany, I said, maybe we should do something here. And Uma was trying to prevent me from going to Tuscany. So she said, no, we should do it here. I'll take care of everything. And, then the whole thing started. Then we realized that the environment is very, very hostile. It's dry, no water, and the soil nutrition is very bad. But we started getting good fruit. But then after a while, we had droughts and no water. So some of the plots we had to pull out, kept very limited quantity. Then we realized we have to make this sustainable. So when we went into different methods of sustainability, we went into water harvesting, we built dams. We don't let a drop of water go out of our vineyard. We trap everything, store it, and also deficient irrigation practices. So much we had to do, and finally it turned out that we are getting into sustainability, biodynamics, and part of it is all the cows. We don't use any fertilizers, we don't use any pesticides, and we are now approaching a phase where we are going to have a no till, no plow policy. And we've already started doing that with some plots. So in future, we won't even use a tractor for plowing, and everything is going to be natural. So it's worked out well. I'm so glad that now we could increase the volume a little bit stage-wise, and the fruit quality also with this type of farming is improving a lot.
That's fantastic. Uma, I've heard that you taste all the fruit yourself and you say that the best fertilizer is the owner's footprints in the vineyards. Tell us exactly what you do and how hands-on you are with the process of growing it.
Yes, whenever I visit the vineyard, especially during the fruiting and harvest time, I go through almost every row. Earlier one winemaker used to say that he used to measure and all. It's like doing 2 full marathons if you do in the morning and evening together and complete all the rows. He used to calculate the length of the rows and all. Anyhow, we do we analysis the fruit and all. That is different thing, but nothing like the palate. The palate will give you the right idea of the acids and the balance of sugar and the maturity of the fruit. I think by tasting you will understand how long you may have to wait to harvest, and what kind of wine you are going to get, how acidic the fruit is, whether the sugars and all are, whether enough of tannins are there. I think all these things over a period of time, you will understand your vineyard very well. You will understand which, particular patch is going to, coming to the maturity fast. When is the right time to harvest? You will learn over a period of time. You will understand the plant very well. You will understand the fruit very well. And of course, you understand the soil very well. And you can do accordingly. That's what I do.
That's amazing. So you entirely judge it personally by your own palate.
Yes.
Krishna, you were telling me that, you didn't intend to sell wine. You just developed this vineyard for your personal consumption. I mean, how luxurious is that? Like, what a privilege. But we all definitely want your wine. So why don't you produce enough? Why is KRSMA made in such small quantities? And why is it available only in Karnataka and Goa and then exports, right?
And Namrata, it's first of all an experimental journey to start with. We wanted to see what quality of wine we could produce. And of course, when you have a vineyard, you can't drink it all or not neither give it to your friends. So we had to sell, and we were selling in just Bangalore. And immediately after 2 months or 3 months of sales in Bangalore, we went into New York, as usual, my usual journey. And we got a very good reception in New York. And in fact, the Sauvignon Blanc sold out in 3 months, and we didn't have any more. So we had to wait till the next harvest. So the cab was well accepted. And also we wanted to demonstrate Indian wines are no less. So we priced it at $50 for the cab, and it really, people responded well. So that's how that started. And then, of course, the whole problem is, like I said, we didn't have enough stock in New York for Sauvignon Blanc. It ran out. So there's no point in trying to get into more geographies or more areas. So we went slow, and we thought we will expand the vineyard slowly. But then my priority, while this is a passion, when it comes to business, I need to focus my energies somewhere else too. So I'm just trying to balance both. And now the sustainability journey has started. Now now we are in a position where we can expand the vineyard a little bit more. And also the yields of the current plots are also increasing along with quality. So we will be having more fruit as we go by. And definitely we will get into a few more cities in India, maybe Mumbai. I think that's where you live. Maybe it'll be available maybe in maybe a year or so.
Well, we can hardly wait. But Uma, I want to ask you, because you've been doing all the first tastings yourself. KRSMA grows a Chardonnay, Sauvignon Blanc, Sauvignon, Cabernet Sauvignon, Syrah, um, the Sangiovese. What do you feel is best suited? Which grape do you think is best suited to the Indian terroir? Uma.
I don't want to talk about Indian terroir because I wanted to talk about our terroir, the Hampi Hills. Cabernet and Sauvignon Blanc is doing extremely well, especially Cabernet. There is no greenness. Of course, we are taking all the precautions to harvest at the right time and all, but it's suited for the Cabernet very well. That I can tell. Then comes Sauvignon Blanc and then Syrah. Unfortunately, that area is, the climate is not suited for Chardonnay and also for Sangiovese. With, heavy heart, we have to remove our Sangiovese and Chardonnay. Actually, Chardonnay, it got so many awards and all. And even our Sangiovese was very well received. But it could not sustain to the, when the drought was hit and all. So right now we have three varieties there, Cabernet, Syrah and Sauvignon Blanc. Again, we are trying out Sangiovese. Ms. Prasad, could not, leave it over there. There is an experimental plot. We are seeing how it is going to do. It is all very long process. Within a year or so, we will never get the result.
Yeah.
We have to wait for the plant's maturity for the fruit. That takes 4 years time or 3 years time. And again, taking the fruit, making the wine, looking at the wine's quality. If you start an experimenting today, it will take minimum 5 years to get the result. That's why there's a lot of comparison between marathon running and grape growing, wine grape growing.
But you're absolutely right about the Chardonnay, because even the Nasik vineyards, which mostly produce for mass consumption, I mean, they make terrible Chardonnay. So is it the Indian soil that's not suited?
Chardonnay in general, it needs a cooler atmosphere, and it is prone to a lot of fungal diseases also. If it is too humid, naturally because of the pests and fungus, lot of fungicides and pesticides people may spray. Because of that, the quality of the fruit may be affecting. So, and one more thing is little higher altitude and the cooler climate is another thing which is needed for Chardonnay. We thought that we will be having an advantage of, because our rainfall is very little, we may not get that kind of fungal diseases or pests. But majorly because of the temperatures, more than the temperature, the drought and, the alkalinity of the water, it affected, Chardonnay. That's why we have to forgo that.
Krishna, the biggest success story you'll have had, KRSMA has been the Cabernet Sauvignon. This is amongst the most popular grapes in the world. And again, I'm going to tell you, I don't think many Indian winemakers have got, the Cabernet Sauvignon right. But you'll have the right expression in this fabulous grape. So tell me, what are the reasons that worked in your favor?
First of all, Namrata, let me add, Cabernet is the king of wine.
Okay.
Okay, there's nothing comparable, whatever people may say. So, and it's a passion. I love Cabernet. I thought I have to make it here. So I didn't even check which varietal will suit the soil. I said, I'm going to grow Cabernet. So we went with Cabernet.
How did you do it? How did you get it right? Because everybody in India grows a Cabernet, but none of them have it's just not as full, it's not as delicious, it doesn't have that finish.
Actually, when I started, it was I wanted to do it and I did it. And I didn't even know whether we will succeed. We took a chance and it worked out. The soils are suitable for Cabernet. And also some of the practices we do also makes, there are a few little tricks in what we do, and that really helps us. But basically, let me tell you, we are viticulturists, not winemakers. You grow good fruit, and the fruit takes care of the wine. So all the practices we do in the vineyard help. And just to add, even the Chardonnay, I can tell you in 4 years, you will see Chardonnay in the market again. I'm not going to give up. The soils were alkaline. There was drought. We corrected the drought. We have water now. And soils also we corrected. Now the alkalinity has come down in the soils. And I think it's going to be next year around July, August, we're going to graft some Chardonnay. And 2 years after that, the first lot, which may not be the greatest, will come out. So we're going to do that. But Cab is the mainstay of KRSMA, and Cab will always be our best wine.
So if I were to ask you which has been the most challenging wine, what would you say? The Chardonnay, the Sangiovese, what has been the hardest to grow in India?
It's Chardonnay. Like Kumar was saying, the fungal diseases and many other issues there. But basically, it was more the water and the alkalinity that really added up. And subsoil water was alkaline. Now that we harvest rainwater, there's no alkalinity in it. The soil also is corrected with a lot of sustainability practices. So it was the most challenging, but I think going forward, it should be fine. And we will do what we are doing to Cab, to Chardonnay also, a few little things here and there in the vineyard practices, and we should get it right.
I have another question for you. KRSMA recommends that you let their wines, especially their red wines, sit in the bottle for a few years before you consume them. But this trend is on the wane the world over because people like to buy a bottle and drink it immediately. Also in India, we don't have, most of us don't have the sort of weather conditions where we can store wine. What are your thoughts on this?
First of all, even the world over, when people, of course, an average wine drinker just buys and drinks the wine in absolutely a day or a few hours.
Yeah.
But good wine the world over definitely has to age. Of course, a Bordeaux may take 10 years or 15 years. A Napa may take 5 years or 7 years. But still you need aging. And definitely KRSMA also, is like a Napa type of aging. It doesn't need 14 years, 10 years. 5, 6 years is good enough. We know if we release the wine, nobody is going to age it. They're going to drink it straight. And we don't want people to experience immature wine. We need wine to mature. And so what we do is we age for 2 years in the barrel. We started with 12 months, then we went to 15. Now it's 2 years. 2 years in the barrel. We use fine grain oak, very fine grain. So that's a lot. The 2 years really helps. And then we age it in the bottle for 2 or 3 years before releasing it. So it's at least 5 years before we release a bottle. We keep a lot of stock with us under very good storage conditions. Unfortunately, when it goes out to the market, we release in small lots. We don't want people, wine to be stored in improper conditions in the shops and in the depots. So we try to make sure people drink it or buy it as early as possible.
Do you think the Indian consumer is ready to age wine?
Some people do, the highly affluent people, they are learning. Everybody's buying a wine cooler nowadays. And they are doing it. It's a matter of time. Good wine, people are learning to appreciate and they are aging it. And one thing I've seen is KRSMA, 5 years we take to release it. But when we taste our 12s and 14s and all, they're so great, there's so much potential. Actually, I would age it for 10 years before drinking it.
My God. But you were talking about aging it in the oak barrels. And I think that your red wines, the very limited quantity that I've had, have the most beautiful structure. So how much oak do you use? Because the world over also wines are becoming a little less oaky, a, a lot more elegant in their styles. How do you do it?
First of all, we don't want to make oaky wines. We want to make elegant wines.
So how
And
do you ensure that elegance remains?
it's the type of oak you use. You use loose grain oak, then a lot of, I would say, immature oak. Our oak we use is 36 months outside in the environment, the staves, and then they make barrels out of it. It goes through rain and snow and heat. So all the aggressive tannins are washed out. So the quality of the wood is what really defines the elegance. That's what gives the elegance. And we use the best quality oak. We define our forest from which our oak comes. And the trees, the wood we use is from at least 100-year-old trees.
Uma, may I ask
See
you?
that. I just wanted to, say one
Yes,
more
of
thing.
course.
He, balance the right, 35% of new oak. Each time depends upon the, texture of the wine and the tannins of the wine. We got experience of almost 10 years. So we know, how much of new oak and how much of old oak to use. That's how we will be able to balance, and we make sure the the wine will be little fruit forward, not too oaky.
Okay. But you're also developing the vineyard. I know you're building a tasting room, Uma, you're building guest rooms. Tell us how that is going.
I think that particular thing, let him answer. Mr. Prasad will answer.
Sure.
Because we have started that about 4 years back, and due to the very bad weather conditions, we just held that. Now we thought this is the time, and then more ideas, let it come from him.
Yes, Krishna Prasad, tell us your plans.
It's always been a bit of a dream to have something nice there, a fantastic tasting room, and also some nice living areas for us and for friends and guests to come in. So we wanted to do it. Unfortunately, when drought hit us, everything took a backseat. Then we wanted to make sure the vineyard is in good shape before we do that. Having a fantastic tasting room and not a great vineyard is not going to help us. So we have almost achieved it. The target is almost there. So I think this year we are starting. We have the plans ready, drawn up long ago. And maybe within 12 months to 15 months, we'll have something ready there.
That's great. Uma, I want to tell you, he's already invited me there. He says, I'm very simple. All I need is a room with air conditioning and I'm happy. I said, Krishna Prasad, sir, I don't even need air conditioning. All I need is your wine. So I'm coming.
Come on.
I can tell you, Namrata, the visit a vineyard is a greatest experience anybody can have because no vineyard allows you taste wines of all vintages at one go.
Yeah,
we do that for not everybody, for friends, and that's a great experience. And we also do barrel tastings. We show people the same plot of land, the effect of different barrels, once used barrel, twice used barrel, tight grained barrel, loose grained barrel. We let them experience that. So that's something that experience nobody could get anywhere.
And they're also such beautiful spaces, right? I told you I took my 3-year-old son when he was 3 then up and down France, tasting wines, just Chateauneuf du Pape looks like a Disney film, it's beautiful. And then obviously when my boy was 6 and I was telling you, we went to the Napa Valley and we went to the vineyard where Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie got married. And of course, Virat Kohli and Anushka Sharma also picked a vineyard in Tuscany to get married. So they're also very beautiful and very romantic places. Humpy wedding soon.
Actually, we wanted to get our daughter married there, but maybe the next daughter, maybe.
Why not? Why not? But can we see Christmas scaling up for mass production anytime in the future?
KRSMA will never be mass production. It'll always be a boutique winery making the best wines. There could be a second label, where we are now trying to sort out the barrels and the best wine out of the barrel that will go to the main label. And just like the Bordeaux vineyards, we'll have a second label, which quality will be good, but definitely no mass wine production in KRSMA.
That's a pity. Uma, I want to ask you, how involved are your children in the winemaking process, in the vineyards? You said you had 3 children, and I know one of them grows vodka in the US.
Now he's working in granules.
Okay.
Of course.
That's your pharmaceutical company, of course.
So yeah, we have 3 kids. Actually, son and 1 daughter is involved in our pharmaceutical business, that is granules. And the other daughter is a breast oncology surgeon.
Cool.
So yeah, right now, I feel they should be serious with their career, because in the initial days of the career, you have to give your 100%. Otherwise, in this competitive world, you are nowhere. Apart from their, I think, that is what we have done during our, earlier days. That's why, even though Mr. Prasad has that passion of winemaking and all, he did not pursue. I think for an entrepreneur or any other profession, unless you give your 100%, you have to sleep, you have to drink, and you have to dream about that. Actually, my daughter Priyanka, she was show little interest, and she wanted to come into the marketing and all. I said, you are doing something, give your 100%, be successful there, then maybe afterwards you can look into. Right now they will just enjoy the wine, and maybe they may give some little bit of marketing tips or something like that, because she is really interested in social media and other aspects. But no, they are not involved in the wine making or viticulture right now.
If I were to ask you, Uma, which was your favorite wine, which was your favorite grape, what would you say?
Both Sauvignon Blanc and Cabernet, because on a Sunday afternoon, if I just wanted to have a glass of wine, I definitely think of Sauvignon Blanc. And on an evening when I'm sitting with for dinner, along with the dinner, if I wanted to have, definitely I will think of a Cabernet. So now, of course, once in a while, Syrah also. So I can't really say, okay, this is my, it depends upon when I'm having, what weather condition.
Yeah, fair enough. Krishna Prasad, which is your favorite grape, your favorite wine?
Obviously a cab.
Yeah.
And if you just ask me on the lighter wines, I like the Provence rosés.
Yeah, they're great. Well, I can't wait to have a glass of wine with both of you. So please have your tasting room ready, your guest rooms ready, because my bags are packed.
You don't need an AC also, Namrata.
I don't need
it's
an
okay.
AC.
You can hop, you can come in anytime.
I look forward to it, and thank you both, Krishna Prasad and Uma, for taking the time out together and chatting with us. It's been wonderful meeting you two. Unfortunately, over a Zoom call right now, but soon.
Thank you, Namrata.
And talking to
Look forward to seeing you in the vineyard.
Yeah, right now the whole world is virtual, it became, and let us hope soon it will come back to the normalcy, and definitely we will meet at the vineyard.
Thank you and good luck.
Thank you, Namrata.
If you enjoyed the show or not, write to me on Instagram, Twitter, or Clubhouse at Namrata Zakaria. For updates on Tell Me How You Did It, follow us at HT Smartcast. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Clubhouse. To listen to more podcasts, log on to htsmartcast.com or suno naye nazariye se.